There are many superficial similarities between Harry Potter and Frodo Baggins.
Who does Elijah Wood look like? Apparently, Daniel Radcliffe.
Who does Daniel Radcliffe look like? The idea of me and Elijah Wood is the same.
But despite how face-swappable their actors are, the characters themselves are largely opposites. Harry's defining characteristic to the outside world is that he is special.
This boy will be famous. There won't be a child in our world who doesn't know his name.
And the flames of Harry's specialness are stoked by his accomplishments. He's the youngest Seeker in a century. He kills a basilisk, produces a full Patronus, fights and defeats adult wizards, and then turns 15 years old. But if Harry's the prom king, Frodo Baggins is the kid he didn't even realize went to your high school. Harry's been the arch nemesis of the Dark Lord Voldemort since he was an infant, but Middle-earth's Dark Lord didn't even realize the Shire existed until Gollum said, "Shire! Baggins!" But despite hiding during physical conflicts, Frodo still manages to be stabbed, stung, and bitten across Middle-earth, where 11-year-old Harry takes down a troll. 50-year-old Frodo doesn't. But beneath Frodo's lack of physicality is an immense internal strength. Walking across Middle-earth with the greatest symbol of evil strung around his neck, quote, becoming more fell, untamable, save by some mighty will. And Frodo proves his will through his resistance to temptation and impulse control, which is exactly what Harry lacks. Harry is emotional to a fault, though sometimes resulting in bravery. His lack of self-control more often damages both him and the people around him. When Dumbledore makes plans, he has to account for when Harry will inevitably do something stupid and impulsive, explaining that he turned the Deathly Hallows into a complicated scavenger hunt just to, quote, slow you up, Harry. I was afraid that your hot head might dominate your good heart. But despite this giant flaw, Harry is the chosen one. And I didn't check the dictionary, but I'm pretty sure the opposite of the chosen one is a reluctant volunteer.
I will take it! I will take the ring to Mordor. Though, I do not know the way.
But if you know either story, you might be screaming at me that these characters can't be simply reduced to special and not special. But the ways they contradict that binary only further emphasize their differences. Because despite an extremely special thing having happened to Harry, Harry himself ain't that special. Besides defense against the dark arts, the most jock subject at Hogwarts, Harry is a very average student. Hermione surpasses him not just in owl exams, but in real life or death moments. Hermione, Dumbledore, and others constantly bail Harry out of dire circumstances because he's simply not good or special enough to save himself. And so despite the magical community viewing Harry as the most extraordinary person in the world, the people closest to him are aware of how truly ordinary he is. But if you read The Lord of the Rings, the opposite is true of Frodo, where everyone outside the Shire besides Gandalf underestimates hobbits. The people closest to Frodo view him as anything but ordinary. Frodo is heir to the most reclusive and adventurous hobbit alive. His uncle is famous both for his mysterious wealth and for the fact that over the past 60 years,
you haven't aged a day.
Frodo himself is so odd that even Sam Gamgee thinks there's something elvish about him. And every time Sam calls Frodo master, it clearly differentiates Sam as the working everyman and Frodo as something closer to the hobbit aristocracy. What I'm saying is that Frodo isn't average. In fact, quote, Bilbo and Gandalf had thought him the best hobbit in the Shire. Tolkien himself stated that, quote, possibly no other elf, man, or dwarf of his time would have got so far. And while that makes Frodo seem pretty extraordinary, most of Middle-earth wouldn't think any hobbit is extraordinary. To them, Frodo is as unknown as Harry is known.
Even amongst goblins, you're famous, Harry Potter.
But the most interesting thing about them is that at the end of their quests, their differences evaporate. Because it isn't specialness that allows Harry to defeat Voldemort. It's the opposite. Harry realizes the only way he can save the world is by destroying the thing that made him special, killing his connection to Voldemort, which gave him many of his magical advantages, and by extension, destroying himself. Harry's acceptance of his voluntary death perfectly maps onto Frodo acknowledging that his quest to destroy the ring will likely end the same way. Harry's will to live had always been so much stronger than his fear of death. It was over. He knew it, and all that was left was the thing itself, dying. And quote, "I do not think we need give thought to what comes after. If the one goes into the fire and we are at hand, I ask you, Sam, are we ever likely to need bread again? I think not." The way that the ring corrupts everyone is by tempting them with visions of becoming, for lack of a better word, special, greater than everyone else. It causes Galadriel to see herself as,
"You would have a queen!"
It tempts Boromir into seeing the ring as,
It is a gift.
Give Gondor the weapon of the enemy!
even during the brief moments Sam possesses the One Ring, quote, "Wild fantasies arose in his mind, and he saw Samwise the Strong, hero of the age, striding with a flaming sword across the darkened land, and armies flocking to his call as he marched to the overthrow of Barad-dûr. The only way Frodo is capable of carrying the ring is by clinging to the knowledge that he isn't some great special warrior. The best way he can serve Middle-earth is by saving it for others.
But not for me.
Like Harry, it's the ordinary love for his friends that allows Frodo to do something extraordinary. Extraordinary! I was gonna say more, but bring us home, guys.
Books and cleverness. There are more important things. Friendship and bravery.
Love, Harry. Love.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more.